We are at the Waco ISD Child Nutrition Center, and this morning was our Pack of Hope pack up for our kids. And I'm here with Pack of Hope co-founders Cliff Reese from Sodexo and from Waco ISD, and Miss Jane Bounds, who is the guardian angel of Pack of Hope. How did this get started?
Well, about 6 years ago, Cliff and I were meeting on a catering job for PTA, talking about the cookies that I was begging for. And when we finished, we were sitting in Starbucks, doodling on a napkin, and thus came the Pack of Hope on the napkin that we wish today we still had. And it took us a year to put it all together and to meet with various other nonprofits regarding child hunger. And we decided we had to go out on our own because our missions were a little different. And so now we're 5 years in production of feeding children.
So, Cliff, from that day that you were sitting with the doodling on the napkin to today, did you think it would look like what I saw today?
I never imagined that, because when we first met, it was just what can we do for Waco ISD? And as we got further and further involved in it, it became, well, what about a community initiative? So it's grown tremendously. And at that point in time, we were just starting off with 2 or 3 schools in Waco ISD. Never imagined we would be every school in Waco ISD and then 17 other partners in the county.
Here today, I saw a lot of superintendents and saw a lot of volunteers from Baylor University. Are those the only groups that volunteer and help you?
We have a huge array of volunteers. It's been tremendous. When we started out, we were just a small group, and now we've got several volunteers. American Medical Students Association Baylor chapter was some of the group that you saw here today, but we have Cargill that comes, we've got Educators Credit Union that comes, we have Region 12 that comes, we have a lot of church groups that come, and then we have a lot of individuals that just have chosen to come, have reached out to us because they've heard of Pack of Hope. So we've got a huge volunteer group, and they're just absolutely fantastic.
So how many backpacks do y'all send out every week?
Our number today is 1,098. We started at 212 when we came a 501c3, 5 years ago? And so we're almost at 1,100 backpacks, and it basically increases every month as more districts get allocations for us, either donations or food drives, which is how districts can increase their own. They can designate them for districts, or we can have people who make donations just for the entire Pack of Hope group, and then we can increase whatever districts request them.
We were able this semester to increase 300 bags for children due to donations. We had requests for 512, and we were able to fulfill 300 additional just for this semester.
So what happens to those other 212 students that are on the list?
We got to get out there and get more donations.
That's our goal. Our goal basically is to try and get every child that's in need in McLennan County a bag of food every weekend. So we're at 1,097, but there's well over 26,000 kids in this county that are on free and reduced, which is how we determine the kids in most need. So we've got a huge opportunity.
You know, it's been said it takes a village, and it is so true that it takes this community and our county to help provide for these children and to offer them a chance at an education. And that is by not having an empty tummy or being sick, but by being able to concentrate and attend school and not miss because of illness. And we feel like we are making a small dent in their future. And that's one of our big goals. And the other, of course, is to keep awareness in the community, because that's how we survive, is to pick up more and more supporters.
I know how passionate you are about this project, and I know how well known you are in the community. I bet a lot of people who've never been hungry come up to you and talk to you and ask questions about Pack of Hope.
Well, there are not many places that Cliff and I go that we're either handing out a card or talking about the pack, because we're consumed, or I am really totally consumed. He's still got Sodexo to take care of. But, you know, I'm a third generation Waco, and we had a family business, so my roots are here, and these people are willing to help us and believe in us, and that's important. And we are just not an average, normal 501c3 nonprofit. We are out of the box because we operate on volunteers and 100% donations.
If there's anything you could say to people about Pack of Hope, what would that be?
to help us reach these 26,000 children in our county, to give them a chance, as I said, of an education and a future. Our song, I Am a Child, that we show all the time in our PowerPoint, says it all. Let the children soar.
Mr. Reese, Sodexo is very generous because they don't have to do this. Why do you think that they are allowing you and other members of your staff to spend so much time working with Pack of Hope, yet expecting you to do your full-time work with Waco ISD, which you do very well, I might add?
I think the main reason is because they realize that as part of their business program, it's what are we doing for the children? That's probably the paramount mission that is communicated to us as a company in the K-12 market. Now, if you're like me and my team, where we're out in the campuses all the time, our passion is because we see children, and this is very true in Waco ISD. As you know, as superintendent, we see these children who come in Monday morning, and they're starving. And you see them where their last meal, maybe your lunch program on Friday afternoon before they head off for the weekend. So our passion is what can we do to help these children over the weekend? And Sodexo has something called the Sodexo Foundation, which also has donated a Pack of Hope. And the whole goal of the Sodexo Foundation is making a better life for your customer. And our customer is children aged from 3 till 17 years old. And when you have these children who are hungry over the weekend, it cuts at your heart big time when you see them. So that's the passion. And then Sodexo is willing to support that. They have a campaign annually to what are you doing in your community to help fight hunger? So that's where that passion comes from, but it's also where the company's support comes from. So they buy 100% into what we're doing, and also how we've expanded it to try and make it affect the entire community, not just your own little local neighborhood.
Okay, so we had Sodexo grant that Mr. Reese mentioned. Are there other grants that are significant to Pack of Hope?
Well, we have several organizations that have had these humongous food drives for us. Waco Women's Lions Club, you may have heard of Fill the Fiat. They have done it for 2 years. They began with 7 Fiats, and last year 11 around town. And it's pounds and pounds of food that help us feed children maybe through the end of October, and they begin in August. So it makes our food and children reach so much further. And of course, Baylor, the Baylor Council, last year had a food drive throughout the campus for us, and we're working currently on the one for this year. Cliff and I are meeting with them next month to solidify that. And another important thing is 66. And you think, well, what is 66? 66 is the number of hours that a child goes from their last meal on Friday to their first meal on Monday. That's a long time.
Welcome to WISD TV. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
Well, I'm Stanley Harris. I'm currently on the board at Pack of Hope. I'm retired superintendent from Axtell ISD, where I
So why are
served for
you
a number
here?
of
Why
years.
did you get up this morning, this early, to come here?
Well, it's a great opportunity to serve the community, serve the kids in the community, and to help with weekend meals for needy kids.
So in Axtell, when you were superintendent, started when you were superintendent in Axtell, right?
It did.
And so did you see a lot of good things coming from that?
Yes, we certainly did. As many of us, I was unaware, I think, of times of the real need. And as we got involved, it became very obvious that we had need, and even more than we can fill with the current contribution from Pack of Hope.
So tell us who you are and why you are here.
Kent Reynolds, Hallsburg ISD superintendent, principal, bus driver, and we're here to we're here for the kids. This is a wonderful program. Giving these kids something to eat when they go home on the weekends that just don't have it, and so we want to do everything we can to do what
So
we can
you
for them.
thought you'd come down here and give a helping hand?
This is the way we do it right here. It takes everybody together.
I'm Pam Brown, superintendent from Golson ISD, and I'm here to support the wonderful Pack of Hope because it means so much to our students at Golson.
How so?
Well, I remember the first time we got Pack of Hope, the nurse handed it out, and she gave it to a little girl, a 4th grade girl, and she said, "We've got this for you to take home, food for the weekend." And the little girl just beamed and said, "I'm going to get food," and just hugged the nurse. And if that didn't give you goosebumps, I don't know what will. Many of us don't think about how excited someone would be to get food, and that this child was thrilled, and to this day still gets her backpack every Friday. So.
Todd Gooden, Superintendent of Mart ISD, and I'm here because I believe in Pack of Hope.
Why do you believe in it?
It's done wonders for the kids of Mart ISD. We have a lot of underserved kids there, and it's been a blessing for us.
So do you see a difference when kids come to school and they've had food all weekend as opposed to a kid who the last meal they had was the meal you fed them Friday at noon?
Absolutely, huge difference, and it builds a bond and trust between the school and the community too. So it serves that as well.
I'm Wesley Holt with Connolly ISD. We're here because this benefits our kids quite a bit. We have several kids that receive the pack, and it makes a tremendous difference for them.
So how do you get new kids to sign up? I mean, is this a yearly process in Conley that everybody gets to sign up for, or what?
We use our counselors, yes ma'am. Our counselors go through and talk with our teachers and talk with other staff members, and we do it every year, yes ma'am.
Okay, so Sarah, who are you, and tell us why you're here.
J.R. Proctor, Superintendent of Axtell ISD, and I'm here to participate in the Pack of Hope packing session because this directly benefits the students in our district that are less fortunate, and benefits those students that over the course of a weekend may not have enough nutritional snacks to eat. And so it's an amazing organization, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Tell us who you are, what you represent, and why you're here.
I'm with Rappaport Academy. I'm the superintendent there, and we're a charter school here in Waco. And we're here because we have kids that need help too. They go home and they don't have food, and this is a great organization that we use. Our parents donate food, and they volunteer their time.
Well, that's really interesting because a lot of people think if a kid's at a charter school, they don't have financial insecurity.
Oh no, we are a public school. There's no tuition. We're still between the campuses, between 60 and 80% free and reduced lunch. So we have kids that go home every day that don't have food.
And yes, so you make certain that the students who do need food get packs every weekend.
Absolutely. We get every pack that we get, and we send it out to them personally. Mm-hmm.
Dr. Sharon Shields, Superintendent of La Vega ISD, tell me, why are you here?
I'm here for the children. The economic conditions that we're living in right now, some of our families struggle, socioeconomically, and it's an opportunity to ensure that our children have food during the weekend. So I'm here for our babies.
Do you notice a difference whenever students have enough food and don't, maybe in their behavior, not in their learning, but in their behavior?
Well, Maslow's fundamental law is about being able to have nutrition. And so definitely we realize significant benefits when our children are fed cognitively, behaviorally, just like us adults. If we're hungry, then we have some difficulty focusing, so absolutely.
We are here with the superintendent from China Springs ISD. Welcome. I saw you working hard there. But I tell you, some people may wonder why you're here because there's this image that China Springs does not have children with food insecurity.
Yes, there certainly is. When you think of China Spring, most people think that we're an affluent district, but we certainly have about 30% of our students are low SES students. We certainly, and that number's growing rapidly. When I first got there 12 years ago, it was about 20%, and so that's how fast it's growing, about 1% a year. And so we certainly have a lot of kids that this will benefit greatly in our district.
Dr. Sandra Talbert, Superintendent of Lorena ISD, you've kind of become the shepherd of getting all the superintendents here periodically. How did you get that job?
This organization is about students, and so you had volunteers from all walks of life. You had retired people, you had business people, but there wasn't a direct connection to the schools. And as a school superintendent, we get tons of emails every day. We get contacts from people, and so if there's a representative among the superintendents, then they might be more apt to open that email a little more quickly or to respond if it's a colleague asking them, rather than somebody they might not necessarily know. So Jane asked me if I would be on the Pack of Hope board, and I agreed, and it's been great because I do have that connection with the schools, and we have those personal stories because it's our students who are receiving the food.
Well, you certainly seem to be successful because it seemed like you had just about all of them here.
I did. I'm not sure. I think that I twisted a few arms and convinced folks that this is the thing to do. But the truth is that you have a group of people who absolutely love students. That's why they chose the occupation they did. They're here for students. And this is just a way for them to actually be a part physically of packing the bags that will benefit their students.
Well, it certainly sounds like Ms. Bounds picked the right person.
Well, it's been a fabulous experience. Thank you.